I've just been looking at my phone and apparently there's a takeover at Blues. Well, word is on the street, and by street I mean social media and TalkSport, Blues are close to a takeover. And the great news for us Blues fans is that we're going to be bought by a Middle Eastern oil state, and they're going to put £500 million into players. Pep Guardiola's going to be our new manager, and they're even going to build us a new stadium. Well, that's how things would go if we were literally any other club in the world. But us Blues fans know Birmingham City's not like any other club in the world. So are Blues gonna be taken over? Well, the simple answer is, it's complex, really complex, not typical Blues. The great thing about social media is we know it gives you 100% factual information. But even over there, where every single person is a genuine expert with years and years of experience, there seems to be about 4 or 5 different accounts of what is actually going on. Even after all of the protests in early 2022, it seemed that Birmingham Sports Holdings Limited were firm in that they wanted to keep hold of Birmingham City. And the reason for that is one very simple thing: its listing on the Hong Kong Stock Exchange. They had absolutely no desire to sell. That was until there were some sort of issues with the ownership. See, there's a man who the club claim 100% does not exist and is nothing to do with the club. And he may actually exist, and he also may have got himself in a little bit of hot water with several law enforcement agencies.
Bad boys, what you gonna do? What you gonna do when they come for you?
It seems bribery and corruption charges are the main ones levelled at Wang Xiaowei, or, for us Blues fans who know him so well, the elusive Mr. King. However, let's not forget the club said he doesn't exist and he has nothing to do with the club even if he did. So, if he doesn't exist, how could he have bribery and corruption charges against him? If you don't exist, you can't commit a crime, therefore no crimes taken place. I see. It was revealed a few weeks ago via some court paperwork that Wang Xiaowei is a beneficial owner of Dragon Villa. They own 18% of Birmingham Sports Holdings Limited, who in turn control 75% of the club. Now, this leads to an interesting situation. It means that having such a large controlling stake in the football club, Wang Xiaowei should have taken the EFL's fit and proper persons test. This is the kind of thing to make sure people have the finance and of the right moral standing to own a football club in England. Well, turns out Wang Xiaowei might need the money. Looks like a few business deals have gone south, and he might also owe a few pounds to the kind of people that you and I definitely wouldn't want to owe money to. So, what does he do? Can he sell the football club? Let's not forget, this is a man who definitely doesn't exist and definitely doesn't own the football club. So he's going to sell the business that he doesn't own to some people that we don't know who they are yet to raise money to go into bank accounts in countries that we won't have access to. Are you with me so far? And while all this is going on, the EFL are sitting in the background, not really doing anything. But it seems like the EFL, at least publicly, are turning a blind eye to the situation. We didn't approach the EFL for any comment, but rest assured they're probably thinking about the best way to punish the football club. Punishments could include a points deduction, maybe a points deduction and a fine, and for Blues probably a points deduction and a fine, and all the fans have to sacrifice their firstborn children. So, who's going to buy Blues then? Well, business deals are very, very complex in their nature, especially takeovers, especially with football clubs. When you throw into the mix the Hong Kong Stock Exchange listing, and everything has a whole nother layer of complexity. So what do you want to do with a complex situation with lots of moving parts? That's right, keep it confidential and keep it under wraps. And what better way to keep it confidential than to phone TalkSport and talk to Simon Jordan about it live on air in front of millions of people?
Lawrence is great. It beggars belief, mate. I don't know why you want to come on and say these things, but you seem to want to. But Lawrence, I really don't understand it, but this is your gift. You do what you want.
He announced that he was borrowing the money from David Sullivan, former Blues owner. He also announced that he'd put a little bit of his own money in himself. How nice of him. He then went on to say that he's already started identifying player targets, and it was insinuated that he'd probably like to remove Lee Bowyer as manager, even though he didn't know him. Social media has talk that Blues were linked with Mark Warburton, who'd recently left QPR. Only things started to kind of unravel when Mark Warburton ended up on the coaching team at West Ham, who are owned by Baz's best mate David Sullivan. Bankrupt Baz, as he's known to many, has stirred a lot of emotions with us Blues fans. See, he's not been declared bankrupt just once, but actually twice. And also he was banned from football for 3 years. See, he was borrowing money from Watford on the promise of future player sales, and he may or may not have paid that money back, something which the EFL didn't take too kindly, and as such said that he couldn't own a football club or be involved for 3 years. He's since served his ban and everything seems right with the world. Something about Blues just attracts these type of characters. We were previously owned by a porn baron, then we were owned by a hairdresser who ended up in prison, we're now owned by a man who is Cambodian national and on the run from the Chinese government, and now we're going to be potentially owned by a man who's been declared bankrupt twice. Something about the Blues just attracts these type of characters, so with that little stability off the pitch, how could we ever expect to have stability on it? So it seems like the deal that Baz has done for himself would see him taking around 20% of the club now, and then in the next 2 to 3 years he would complete the purchase of the rest of the club, the stadium and the training ground. And this is important because it would give Birmingham Sports Holdings Limited a chance to go and acquire new companies and fulfil their obligations to the Hong Kong Stock Exchange. It might also just mean that Wang Xiaowei gets a load of cash now and he can Bassini has suggested a 30th of June deadline for this deal to be completed. Now, if you're watching this video after the 30th of June or some point in the future, it could be that we're top of the Premier League and everything went absolutely fantastic. Or it could be it went disastrously wrong and we've gone out of business and we're no longer a football club. The reality for Blues is that it'll probably be somewhere in between. Several local journalists have been given scoops and exclusives and snippets of the story over the last couple of weeks, although the sceptics have said that this is just Laurence Bassini trying to get a few extra inches. Column inches, of course that is. Most people seem to agree Laurence Bassini's probably not a great person to be in charge of Birmingham City Football Club. However, even the biggest sceptics have said that it's quite nice that David Sullivan could be sat in the background with his enormous wealth. He's due to sell West Ham in its entirety over the next couple of years, so maybe he did want to return to the club. Let's not forget he bought us for £1 and sold us for 80 million. In case you're not very good at maths, that's a profit of £79,999,999. A second deal is also on the table. However, it appears that that table is in a different country to where the owners of Birmingham City actually exist. Paul Richardson and Maxi Lopez have said that Birmingham Sports Holding Limited haven't even responded to their bid. Now, this is a bid that would see Birmingham City try and sign Diego Costa, because what Birmingham City need right now is another striker over the age of 30. It's hard to see where Richardson and Lopez would get the money to buy the club. Having to demonstrate to the EFL that you have the funds in place would probably mean that with the purchase price and keeping the club going for a season, they'd need to demonstrate around £60 million in the bank. We're not too sure if they've got it. There are prospective owners out there. It looks like quite a few people want to buy our club. However, anyone with enough business sense to come in and do a great job of running the club on a day-to-day basis probably wouldn't want to have anything to do with our current ownership. And if they've got any real sense, they probably will just watch us fall into oblivion and pick us up on the cheap in the future. Social media is divided. Some people have said that there was no takeover at all. It was just a story to sell season tickets. Other people think the best thing is that we just go into administration, go down into League One and have a mass clear out. While other people's biggest priority is messaging Ian Dutton directly and telling him that we're out of paper in the men's toilets in the main stand. And all of this is being played out against the backdrop of a season that's starting early this year because of the World Cup held in the huge footballing powerhouse of Qatar. Whatever happens in the... Oh, what's that? Medical booked, stethoscope, winky face, thumbs up. Anyway, whatever happens in the next few weeks, two things are for certain. One, Birmingham City have got a new sewing machine, they showed us on a video, and two, there probably will be joys and sorrows. Maybe more sorrows now we come to mention it. Just remember, whatever happens, we should stick together as a fan base because we all only want what's best for the club. Let's not squabble and fight like them lot down the expressway would. So, let's just sit back, keep right on, have a cup of tea, and wait for all this to blow over. Hello, Craig, mate. Yeah, no worries, mate. Yeah, sweet. Yeah, did you get your new Moncler Polo? Yeah, sweet, mate, sweet. Me? No. Fruit of the Loom for me, mate. Fruit of the Loom. Yeah, just done the video. Yeah, just like you said. Just said everyone, calm down. The deal will get done. Relax. Don't worry about it. Just like we spoke about, mate. Yeah, nice one. Yeah. So yeah, they'll all be out buying season tickets next week. Yeah, sound. Yep, shirts going down well. Keep telling everyone how great the shirts look. Yeah, 55 quid. Yeah. I mean, people can't fill up their cars with petrol, but they're finding 55 quid for a football shirt. Yeah, no worries at all, mate. Yeah. All right. Okay. To be honest, mate, I've got to go. I've got to shoot. I've got to give Ian Dutton a quick call. Yeah, I just noticed, mate, the lanyards that the club uses, they're not the correct Pantone colour. I'm just going to give him a quick call, mate. He needs to know. It's important. All right. Send my love to Gaz. Cheers, mate. See you. Cheers. Yeah, cheers.